Fragments of silicon, not certified for medical use.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining me, as always, are my good friends, Petty and Golix. And we shall shift to the news, as per usual. Petty, why don't you start us off this week?
Overall, it's been another fairly quiet week. Um, yeah, today I went to the local game store and was able to get a box of the new Digimon set that's coming out. Well, officially releases next week.
Yeah.
So, yay, new cards.
Is your tournament still on?
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that's happening Sunday. So yeah, the reviews will be bumped to Monday.
Duly noted.
And yeah, just kind of existing till Digimon Survive comes out. Because that, huh?
That's a way of putting things.
I mean, not really a whole lot else going on. Because after Survive, I think sometime mid-August is when 14 finally gets its next large-ish update. So, not a whole lot really going on till then.
All right.
I mean, I guess it depends on what games you play. Xenoblade comes out soon, too.
Yeah, honestly, I want to beat Chronicles 1 first. Then I need to see about getting 2 before I want to look at 3. I know I don't have
fair.
to, but it's more I want to.
And then Splatoon 3 is later this month or early next month, something like that.
I thought
September.
I was about to say, wasn't that the fall game?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think
Early
the only thing.
September, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, like I think the only thing that we're really missing from Nintendo is their big November game. Honestly, because Splatoon 3 is September, Bayonetta 3 got slotted in for October, and yes, there's Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, but those don't count. Now, Pokemon has always been kind of on its own release timeline. You know, obviously that's going to be technically the biggest game Nintendo releases during the fall, but you know that's not their big headlining game, so to speak. You know, like where's this year say Metroid Dread or Super Mario Odyssey that gets released in November?
So. Super Mario Odyssey 2 comes out of nowhere.
Well, you'd think it would be Breath of the Wild 2, but
I wouldn't be shocked if it was originally planned for around this time and then got bumped again.
Yeah, I'm relatively sure it was.
Yes.
Which, take your time and make a good game, but it's not kind to the schedule.
It's more whatever Nintendo Direct first-party plans got scrapped, because yeah, I definitely believe the rumors that there was one of those scheduled but got canceled for whatever reason, because quite frankly, we got the announcement of a new Kirby game. Yes, it's a downloadable thing, but still. And Bayonetta 3 gets a release date out of nowhere. These are definitely things that would have been packed into a Direct.
Yeah.
But weren't. So I don't know if it was something that happened in their internal release schedule, but maybe we'll get a Direct next month. I don't know. Anyway, Petty Fan, anything else happening in your neck of the woods this week?
No.
All right. Well, Galax, it's your turn.
Not too much going on here. Um, my friggin' Digimon cards still have not come, but I managed to play against my friend some using proxies of just a bunch of pointless rookies because the searchers are not very rule dense. Although, without the actual cards, I did find myself forgetting to frigging draw when I played them. So, because that among their rules things, it's easy to miss the draw one, even though I had one out for checking.
There are sites you can get the like copies of the card to print out to use for proxies if it helps with like rule stuff.
That might be. I don't know, it worked pretty well. I
Noted.
kind of felt bad about it because he has a fairly normal non-meta deck, and D Reaper is kind of a little bit oppressive sometimes,
Yeah.
especially if you get a Reaper out.
Mhm.
Other than that, let's see. I did go down to the Clam Festival a little bit, but not for super long, and got to meet with my college friends who I haven't seen in I think a couple of years now on account of Pam and Dennis. Uh, you know, I guess that's not super clear, so I meant the pandemic. Um, my brain had been using that as a shorthand, but I don't think I've ever actually said it out loud before.
I like human malware better, but that's just me.
That works too. Anyway, not that much else. It's
Okay.
hot, and I'm getting my car's passenger side headlight replaced.
Yes, I think you mentioned that last week.
Yeah, well, it's at the car place now.
Uh,
In retrospect, maybe I should. I need to get next month. I need to get it. What's the word? Inspected. But could have done that at the same time. But I guess I decided to put it off. Yeah, have a early next month is getting busy in terms of
mhm.
dentists or medical stuff. So we'll see.
Okay. Um, anything else?
Not really.
Okay. I guess it's my go. So, yeah, I guess I'm the one with all the news this week. As yes, it's been fairly busy. Let's see. Last Thursday, I went down to the MRI place and got the appointments sorted out. And then I had to sort things out with the optometrist in that I had to cancel with the place I was going with and go with a different one because it turns out they were out of network. Like, um, so as it turns out, I'm having an eye exam and a CT scan within the span of 24 hours. Like, and that's happening August 3rd and 4th, respectively. Let's see. Oh, yes. Also took my computer down to the shop to make sure it's working fine. I'm pleased to report that it is. It turns out the data corruption, which I suspected, but I needed to make sure of. What happened when the original hard drive failed? Like, thankfully, it was a small amount of images that got corrupted.
Mm.
Um, um, but yeah, but once they got corrupted, there was no saving them. Like, so, but yeah, it's like there's nothing wrong with my current hard drive. That's the important part.
Hooray!
And let's see, so yeah, most of my doctor's appointments are now in August. though I've still got my primary care follow-up next week, which, like, I'm not exactly sure what is going to do exactly, because like, all the important stuff still has yet to happen. It's like, still haven't had this, still need the CT scan and still need the follow-up with the specialist, but whatever. I need to give them my new insurance card anyway. So just be a short thing. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my news for the week. Yeah. No guests this week. They had to cancel out. Like, trying to remember. Like, oh right, it's because the things were still hectic at their workplace, or rather, the entire office was hectic because they hadn't yet selected a representative. So that's that's happening in September now. Hopefully things will have calmed down, but who can say? Anyway, so it is time to play more Heaven's Vault. Yeah, I completely forget where we left off. So I'm sure we'll be reminded when we get back into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. I think we just saved that dude.
That is possible.
Yeah, we saved that guy who was basically being a slave.
Right. And it looks like we got to go to that location. Yeah, believe it or not, we are sailing on air. I know. Once again, it's still hard to come up with new things to talk about with the whole solar winds. Now, granted, it looks like
Or
fast travel.
space winds, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even sure we're in space. I mean, I guess technically, it's, I guess, different dimensional space.
Yeah,
Like,
this is clearly a world that doesn't follow quite the normal physics rules.
right. Mm, yes, our destination is up ahead, like on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Reply?
I wouldn't say can't.
Yeah. I mean, somebody could have crashed here, for example, or dumped something.
Well, we found a base camp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they said they were digging,
Yeah.
so like that. I like how they're immediately contradicted. Like, there has been no human life here. Oh, except for this entire.
I think they mean aside from the
Yeah, I know. I know
archaeologists.
what they. I know what they mean, but I also know what they said.
Don't be silly, Adam. Archaeologists don't count as life.
Archaeologists aren't people. Alrighty.
Yep, time to explore. A heavy-duty cart. I mean, all they know that it could have been looking for, ore.
Oh man. Um.
Find more translations. Let's see. Knowledge, I want to say.
Either knowledge or work, because it is a cart.
Work would probably work better since, yeah,
It has the same leading category for as robots.
then it would definitely be work. Work. I'm going to say is.
That would make sense.
Yeah, or I guess into, but they in parentheses they put
Work
toward.
in,
So
well, yeah, work into life. I don't see it. Work is life. That definitely sounds like something that would be written on the side of a heavy duty cart.
Hmm.
Continue.
I mean, we could be very off base here, but
It doesn't look like it. At least not right now.
we'll find out if we get the bad end.
yeah, that's a big old tent.
Okay, another cart.
Behind the other cart.
Forever. We.
Ah, so right.
Hmm.
That could be yeah, I'm like, let's look at the other word first.
Yeah,
I don't think we have enough context. Let's see.
what we do is forever. Was that an option?
I think so.
Sure.
Also, this alone is like the prefix for verbs. Like those two comma thingies are before most verbs. So
Mm. It's weird. I don't think have a linguist in the chat.
mhm. I'm not from Eox.
I just had to pick one because it was
Yeah.
fading
Yeah.
away. Alright, I want in the tent. I
Hey, can
imagine
you
there's
stop
probably.
from the camera?
Sorry.
I think he was trying to wiggle into the
Yeah.
tent.
Yeah, you're just shaking the camera and
There's probably a door somewhere.
This might be the entrance. Slice rope with dagger. Why?
because it's tying the.
Alright then. We're taking the robot with me. Oh,
What?
Oh,
just
it's an excavation
yeah,
Ugh.
tent, not a
not a. Oh, there's a giant statue in here tent.
or a rest tent.
Yeah.
Makes sense though. Keeping water out of a hole. I mean, it doesn't look like it ever particularly rains here, but keeping stuff
Maybe
from
more the
falling into a hole.
wind. I think.
Yeah.
Read the symbols.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Bless this mess. Wait a minute.
I mean, it's not far off the mark.
um.
What's this?
See if
I'm
I.
going to say machine. Like
Either machine or house, but let's see, what is it related to? It's
Maybe people.
people could work.
Yeah, people make sense too.
Though it could also be machine. I can't really see in the pit. See if there's any like machinery in there, other than the little elevator.
Hmm.
Yeah. Damn fog effects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very hazy in this tent.
Oh well, that helps.
Somehow, you mean we can turn the fog machine off?
Apparently.
The walkways look incredibly dangerous. Look, I weigh less than you do.
Send the robot. If it breaks, we can get another one. Wait a minute.
Big enough to hold a what?
Eagle, I think she said.
Presumably a type of ship called an eagle.
I think it's
On
the name
Sure.
of their ship.
on account of most actual eagles generally fit within the space of, say, one of those smaller boxes.
Well buried indeed. Alright, so we're going to try and take what looks like an elevator, or do we want to take the catwalk?
The catwalk might have stuff interesting on it, and also,
Yeah.
while
Also,
rickety would not be prone to actual specific mechanical failure.
more to the point, death is not a thing in this game. So, get to the walking on the cat.
Get to the walking!
True, but it might. That doesn't mean there can't be consequences.
Test board. When do you want to go first, Six? That's how we lose robots.
Why don't you go first? 6.
Damn it, it's too smart. I'm thinking 2 or 3.
I'll go if you don't. Yeah. On the other hand, so the thing is, they can have consequences like making something unaccessible to you if you screw up, even without actual threat of bodily harm. That is true.
Well, boo. I guess we try the
Elevator.
Yup. Unless this is not actually an elevator.
I mean, it's
Oh,
in the ballpark.
alright. Where? Come on.
I saw it.
Uh,
That's the goodie.
I guess that's what correct keys.
No, he does not have an ethical core. He's a flesh and blood being.
I mean, people have metaphorical ethical cores.
I'm a weird shaped meat suit.
Right, but humans in general can lie, where robots can't. Guess we're trying this again.
About 60%. Oh no. So fuck it and go for broke.
I
Yeah.
mean, her,
Oh,
inelegant, but she still made it.
I gave that jump a 3.
Wait, what?
Alrighty. So is there another way down there, or is this just a
Wait,
red?
did you not keep going, or?
No, because she said you couldn't jump it.
Okay. Sorry, I looked away for a second.
Alright, so I'm guessing there's no other way down, so we're gonna either need to find some more wood, or this is just a kind of almost like a red herring type thing.
Well, I think we got to go speak to what's his name?
Giza or Yaza?
Yeah, the slave.
He might know how to fix things, yeah.
Or he might lose another arm. Alright, let's get out of here. Where's my run button?
I mean,
Oh, boy. Our little friend ran away. Oh, that's not good.
that's like.
Oh, that's not good.
No, hallucinations are usually not good.
Uh,
Right. So where did we put the shotgun?
I mean, we do still have the dagger, so...
But there's more than one of them.
You're
So
an archaeologist, not a.
I mean, that didn't stop Indiana Jones wielding weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it depends if they're armed. Because one of them looks kind of elderly. Alright, so can I get out?
Oh, things are moving fast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she could be hallucinating this whole thing.
Yeah. Oh. That's not good.
No, like, I don't think anything has gone good on this planet. Or planetoid, or whatever the fuck this is.
Work. And...
Never mind that. It's time to transliterate.
Working, I'm guessing, happy?
Work is correct. Happy would work here.
Well, it's not work and be dead, probably. Seeing as how that would be.
Oh, the robot. um... Where were you?
Finally. Yeah.
I am not a combat robot.
Turns out they just teleport into the void.
I didn't do anything, no.
Well, that's just mostly a waste of time.
There's probably something you can discover there, but I don't know what.
Uh...
Hmm.
So we either take them or leave them.
I'm thinking we leave them.
Yeah, I mean, he might have valuable information, but also we didn't really want to be keeping a slave anyway, so.
You think we should?
Alrighty, so one or two. Alright, go get them, or no, I don't trust them.
No, I don't trust them. Considering we had to teleport to flee.
I mean, we chose to, but.
because they were threatening.
And they did kind of trap us in a tent, and if it wasn't for the dagger we had, they probably would have had the ship by now.
We'll
I
think of something
suppose.
later. Much later.
The main thing I'm concerned about is that we've probably lost a lead here.
Probably.
There will be other leads. See?
Alright. So where do we want to go?
Let's see.
We can go to Iox or
I guess we'll go
Elborth.
to Ebolorith.
Elbereth.
One of those. It is a word that is not of my brain meats.
It's not actually. No. I guess we haven't been down this route before. We're doing the.
Oh, fun.
Dope.
Yeah, I couldn't see the...
The current.
Yeah. Whee! I missed a turn, what?
Well, I mean, you can pass control to 6.
I think this is bugged.
Why do you say
What's this?
that?
Because I went the way it told me to go and it said I missed a turn.
Hmm.
Anyway, we're here.
Alright, do we want to pause here or...
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to take a break here.
Alrighty.
So next time we'll engage in some vague hints or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
right. Welcome to the topic of discussion for the week. This week we are talking about Ubisoft, as recently they announced they are doing their seemingly annual shutdown of games that makes everyone mad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, Mainly because we're hitting some new depths. Um, because because in some of these games the DLC, which by the way is in some cases paid DLC, will be inaccessible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, and and it's also some of these games will become unplayable in the sense that they won't be authenticated. That's kind of the problem with um, a lot of these games of this vintage, as where uh, you won't be able to hook up, say, the old version of Assassin's Creed 2, or no, that hasn't actually gotten a remake, a remastering. Assassin's Creed 3.
Mm.
Uh, you won't be able to use multiplayer. Link Ubisoft accounts in game or use online features. Um, or like Assassin's Creed Liberation HD, which has gotten a unduly amount of focus because the initial Steam message said the game would be literally unplayable. No, it will be playable directly. It's just you won't be able to use online features. You won't be able to hook this up to UPlay anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and the installation and access to DLC will become unavailable. So that means if you haven't downloaded whatever bits of DLC are for Liberation HD, you're shit out of luck.
Mm.
Um, I wouldn't know, but so the thing about Liberation HD is, yes, that's been pulled from purchase, but honestly, that probably should have been pulled from purchase a while ago because it's not a lost game. It's not anything like that because Ubisoft did a remastering for current generation hardware, or at least last generation, with the requisite upscales.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, yeah, they did an Assassin's Creed 3 remastering. They did one for Assassin's Creed 4 and Assassin's Creed Rogue. I think that they've done for like the Assassin's Creed 2 collection, which is more than one game. Like Revelations is in that sphere.
Right.
But going through the list, the games that are being shut down on September 1st are, or having their online functionality being removed, or however you want to frame it. Assassin's Creed 2, the old version of Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Liberation HD, Assassin's Creed Revelations, uh, Driver San Francisco, Far Cry 3 2012 edition, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, Future Soldier, Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands, um, Rayman Legends, Silent Hunter 5, Space Junkies, which is, I believe, the newest game on this list. Uh, the thing is, this is a VR, like, multiplayer only title, so
Mm-hmm.
this will just flat out be unplayable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because, online multiplayer games without the multiplayer functionality are, well, functionally dead.
Mm-hmm.
Splinter Cell
I don't
Black.
know. Maybe you could hook it up to a LAN or something.
Uh, well, keep in mind, I don't think so. Like, this is a modern
Yeah.
multiplayer game. Like,
Mm-hmm.
LAN options aren't really a thing anymore.
Yeah, unless it's a remake of a very old game. Like, I think
Or
The
they're
Halo
going.
Master Chief Collection, stuff like that, has LAN options, but it's fucking Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because they're not P2P.
Yeah.
They all have mediating servers.
Anyway, Splinter Cell Blacklist and Zombie U. I believe there is another game to this list in Anno 2070 or something like that. One of the Anno games, but it's not here because the actual developer of the game announced that title will be supported with their own resources, which is nice of them. It's important with that game because a lot of the functionality there is online.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, once again, this kind of highlights the problem with, I can't say modern games because a lot of these games, none of these games are modern with the exception of probably Space Junkies.
Mm-hmm.
We're ta- we are talking about games that date back to it's all PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 era. Now I'm
Yeah.
seeing a couple Wii U games, like Zombie U. This game is about 10 years old.
How dare you
So,
tell me those games aren't modern just because they're not brand new anymore?
well, it's not just that they're not brand new. Like Splinter Cell Blacklist, that's going on 10. That's 9 years old. Um, Fucking Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed 2. That's what, from 2008, 2009. So we've got some games from like literally about 10 years ago. I
Yeah.
don't, especially in video games, you can't call that modern.
I can.
Well, I mean, you would be
I
wrong.
Well, that's a completely different thing.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Yes, but once again, this is people are up in arms about this as they should be, but this is just kind of part of the landscape. Like you see, Ubisoft did this in 2021, where they shut down the services for games like Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, Rainbow Six Lockdown, Far Cry 2, and Splinter Cell Conviction. Um, and hell, like Nintendo just the other day reiterated that the entire 3DS and Wii U eShops are going away in March of next year.
Mm-hmm.
And to compound on this, the DLC for Fire Emblem Fates will no longer be accessible around that time. So if you want that game, and more importantly, it's DLC, you better get to buying now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Especially
yeah,
since
the entire Birthright campaign is DLC, isn't it?
I believe so. Especially since
Unless you got the incredibly rare
yeah.
physical version of Birthright.
Let me finish. Especially since Nintendo announced that I think either this month or next, I think sometime soon, you won't be able to add money to those eShops anymore, unless you do it through a convoluted like through the website or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can still add it to the wallet if you have a Switch.
Yeah, something like that. It's something that's going to be very convoluted, like what you have to do to buy something on the PlayStation 3 PSN store these days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Point is, it's not just Ubisoft, it's not just Nintendo. This is the dark side of the digital future or digital present, or now the digital past,
Mm-hmm.
that people have been warning about. Which is, yes, unfortunate. But this is also a reason why remasterings are not a bad thing. Because,
I mean,
I'll
you could
note
make a case for if they're completely terrible, but
besides that, once again, like Assassin's Creed Liberation HD. Okay, that particular version will become not lost media, but part of the listed set. You can still get this because they updated the game for modern consoles.
Right.
Like now, obviously, this is going to happen for every game because even Assassin's Creed 3 seems to be popular enough to get a remastering.
Right.
Like I don't see necessarily say Silent Hunter 5 getting the same love.
Hmm.
You know,
Or like Far Cry 3.
yes. A lot of games just won't be brought up into the modern standards.
Hmm.
Though, if they have a PC version, some of this stuff can be worked around.
Yeah.
Um, in fact, all of it really can. Multiplayer. Now, this might depend on the popularity of something, but PC multiplayer, like we've been having that kind of functionality, not so much removed, but the servers deactivated. But if your fan base is dedicated enough, you will be able to get private servers going.
Hell, we literally, like a few weeks ago, they just reverse engineered 1.0 Xbox Live and people are using that.
Right. And as far as authentication issues, well, this is where piracy comes into play. I'm
Yup.
like, yeah, okay, your legitimately bought copy of, say, Far Cry 3 may not be usable, or Driver San Francisco, or whatever you want to put here, but a cracked version, and by the way, this has been going on since, like, Assassin's Creed. I remember when Assassin's Creed 2 was online only,
Hmm.
like back in 2010. It's like, it was better to actually get the cracked version because it didn't have it didn't have Denuvo, but it had one of the principal side effects of Denuvo. It made the game run a lot shittier than
Hmm.
without the fucking DRM. Some of these problems have been fucking problems for a lot longer than I think people realize. Now as far as the whole DLC thing, this seems to be the kind of novel thing.
Well, and for a few of the games, the DLC was multiplayer only, so if
Yeah,
your multiplayer is going away, there's no point in being able to get that DLC anymore.
right. Um, as far like once again, um, as far as a cracked version versus for DLC, that probably exists. But I don't know how easy that kind of hookup is.
Hmm.
You know,
Especially if it's just multiplayer DLC.
yeah. And as far as linking your Ubisoft accounts,
Okay, you're
that's
not
probably just
you're not gonna want to link your Ubisoft account to a cracked version anyway.
yeah,
That's a good way to lose your Ubisoft account.
yeah. Once again, it's always disappointing to see this happen, but I can't say that this is unusual in this day and age, especially for like Ubisoft.
Hmm.
I mean, like I said, right now we are facing a time where entire storefronts are vanishing once again.
Hmm.
And like, here's the thing: the Ubisoft stuff here, there will probably, at least on PC, okay, the console versions, yeah, the online's never coming back.
Yeah,
Um,
unless they, you know,
unless you got somebody really, really dedicated to playing Far Cry 3 on the Xbox 360 or
hmm
something like that. Which, you know, I know this kind of thing has happened with like Fantasy Star Online comes to mind, but once again, you got to be a very specific fan base.
yeah, Fantasy Star players are a special kind of crazy.
Yes,
We let
um,
them do whatever they want.
um, yes. The point is, like, most of this stuff is going to have workarounds. I'll note that we still don't have any sort of workaround to have the fucking, remember the original Wii store and that infrastructure? You know,
Mhm.
um, the only way you can access anything that was exclusive to those storefronts today or since the service went down and such is piracy. Mind you, it was really, really easy to pirate games on the Wii, like
Uh,
especially the digital games.
I
But that's
think
not.
the Wii Shop recently came back up, but only in like a download only mode, where if you didn't already own it, you couldn't get new stuff.
No, you'll be able to download the stuff you bought for the foreseeable
Hmm.
future, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah, well,
Like,
because for a few months the Wii Shop was down completely for Wii.
well, my larger point is like if you want to play one of the Rebirth games that was released on WiiWare, for example,
Uh huh.
um, you can't do that.
Yeah, unless you
Um,
already had it.
yeah, you can't do that legally. And yes, I know that WiiWare was home to a lot of junk. That's not the point.
Every game marketplace is full of junk.
Yeah, it's like you know the junk, the gems, the everything got tossed out. It's like Kenji Ino's last game ever is unaccessible because of this. That's be you, me, and the cubes. Like
Hmm.
like I said, anything I could name from WiiWare that didn't get a port off of that service, you know, it's just gone.
Hmm.
Like the revamped version of Defend Your Castle. Um, that I don't think ever got a port off of WiiWare.
Hmm.
So it's uh, uh, in opposition to that, like some like Lost Winds 1 and 2.
Hmm.
Those were games that were initially released for WiiWare and shuffled off
Yeah,
to iOS and Steam.
because there are some of these titles that the companies don't exist anymore. So unless
Yes.
somebody like Embracer Group happens to buy a lot with the rights to them, they're never going to see another release.
Uh huh. I and you know once again, this is why people flip the fuck out about Sony um, decommissioning their online stores.
Hmm.
But unlike Sony, Nintendo apparently can't be bullied
Hmm.
into and there's going to be a lot of stuff, especially on the 3DS eShop,
Oh
because
God, yes.
you know, okay, yeah, the Wii U wasn't popular ever and
Hmm.
didn't last all that long, relatively speaking. The 3DS had a pretty healthy life for about a decade.
Yeah, the
And
3DS was Nintendo's indie renaissance console.
not just that, but it was their experimental lab room.
Hmm.
This is where the Box Boy games, for example, or Dylan's Rolling Western, or Harmono Knight. I know these are all like technically Nintendo, but Nintendo's affiliates really, really let their creative legs flow on
Hmm.
the 3DS shop.
Yeah, it's
You know,
kind of like what the 360 was to Microsoft. It was its indie playbox.
uh-huh. Well, like I said, it's more specifically Nintendo's, like HAL Laboratories, Creatures, Game Freak, um, those developers. They released a very quirky, original stuff on that platform.
Hmm.
Like the Pushmo series got its start there. I could just go on and on with the amount of stuff, first party stuff that got released only on the 3DS eShop that's gonna die
Hmm.
with it. Because Nintendo has shown it's like not contempt for its past. It's more, they're going to upsell you their past.
Yeah.
It's not so much preserving the Wii U Virtual Console when they've got the Nintendo Switch Online services to sell you.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there's a problem there because what was on the Wii and the Wii U and the 3DS Virtual Consoles, some of that stuff isn't supported by Nintendo Switch Online.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The Wii U Virtual Console had Game Boy Advance and DS games, um, TurboGrafx 16 games, C64 games, legitimate arcade games. All had the support on these virtual consoles. The 3DS Virtual Console had Game Gear support, but and Game Boy support, which have not been I know it's been rumored that Game Boy support's coming for the Switch,
Hmm.
but that's beside the point. These are all platforms that didn't get either relicensed. Okay, the TG16 stuff, you'd have to go back to Konami. Once again, this is why the Genesis stuff, the Master System stuff, all the Sega stuff didn't show up on the Wii U.
And why it's
Uh,
also basically an extra subscription, because Nintendo has to pay more money for that.
right. And I'm guessing in the case of the Nintendo 64 stuff, keep in mind Nintendo 64 games are um, literally a generation above anything from the Super NES or the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Maybe, but running it as an emulation, it doesn't really matter. They're just doing that because they can.
Like possible, but I don't think anyone's really looked too deeply in the emulation systems running here. But yeah, and this is like this is kind of what we're looking at in terms of preservation. See also Sony and uh, their classic PlayStation stuff. You know, they are emulating like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 stuff, like streaming only for PlayStation 3 because
Fuck you, cell architecture.
the cell architecture, the biggest pain in the ass since the Saturn. This always end up the same fucking way. It's like this really hard to program for architecture ends up fucking up the emulation scene.
Oh yeah.
Because it's still hard to do Saturn emulation to this day.
Yeah.
Like, or even the Sega CD had this problem. That's why you're seeing just with the Mini 2 Sega CD games getting re-released for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm. And this one includes a 6-button controller.
Yes,
indeed.
Like the first one should have.
Mostly because that was the basic with the Sega Saturn. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I know. I'm just teasing.
I think we've yammered on enough about this particular topic for now, but I'm sure this is going to come up again, either as a topic of discussion or, when we have another, when we have like Night Dive or Digital Eclipse or someone else who works in classic restoration on this program.
Mm-hmm.
Either or. So,
yeah, I'm pretty sure we'd just let Steven go for about half an hour on this topic if we let him.
Either Steven.
Yeah.
Because Stephen Frost is our point man at Digital Eclipse. Weird how that worked. Anyway, so yeah, the week ahead. Right. So Friday show. Okay. We're having some problems here, or rather, so we did intend to have a show last Friday, but we got shown up by the guest. The actual guest. I've been in contact with his handler. He's trying to push. He's having trouble getting in contact with the guest. And
which is a kind of unusual place to have difficulty in the get a person to do an interview pipeline, but
not unprecedented.
Oh no, it's not unprecedented or impossible. It's just usually the issue isn't between the person and their manager. It's usually between you and one of those two things.
Yeah. In this case, like, Ben has been apologetic about this whole thing, and he's been pushing, to get a response from Artur, but nothing doing yet, and I haven't heard a peep. So I'm probably going to inquire tomorrow, and if I don't hear that he's gotten into contact, I'm calling that off, because I'm not waking up on another goddamn Friday and having my Friday morning wasted on this.
It is a bit annoying, yes.
Yes. So, and as far as rescheduling, I'm like, honestly, that sounds a bit unlikely, even if we did have the space to do it, because he's incommunicado.
Right. It's not that we don't want to interview you. It's just that if
We
there's
can't
no,
reach you.
Yeah.
We can't reach you. I'm like, so, like, there'll be a resolution to this one way or another tomorrow. Like, unless Ben, begs me to not do, can offer some kind of assurance, but I don't think he can. Like, because it's not him who's having the problem. Believe me, I know how this goes.
Unless you can have him tied up and ready to go Friday morning.
I mean, this is one of my jobs that I do for this show and MSP weekly, or in that case, occasionally. But it's like, wrangling a guest from from contact to interview is its own job. Sometimes it goes smoother, and this is one of those times when it goes rougher. It's especially concerning when you're dealing with, let's say, they've got people who handle that shit. So, like I said, that's just kind of the state of where Friday lies. If there's a Friday show, I'll announce it on the Twitter, or not. So keep an eye there. I'll probably tell the crew here that we will move forward or not when I've made my choice. In fact, I'm probably going to send Ben a message after we're done here, and in between shows, just so hopefully I'll get a response on Thursday morning. Anyway, so that's the state of things. Be sure to tune in for MSP happening after a good 3 weeks. We are slated to have a guest. That was a whole thing, but yeah. Anyway, until then, I shall wish you good gaming.